Hey, John K., how you doing with the message? Is it helping you travel a little lighter?
Yeah,
There
uh,
you go.
I have some difficulties. My wife is afflicted with early Alzheimer's, and it's tough to be around. You know.
Yeah, well, this is the value of traveling lighter. Yeah. You can't magically think your way out of situations and circumstances.
Yeah,
So this allows you to travel lighter through it. Yeah.
I appreciate I appreciate your helping me.
Well, yeah, it's helping. It's just helping, really. Anything that yeah, it's the simplest one because you're just pointing out something that's already so. It's not like you got a point, doesn't take any time to point, and it's not transversing any space. It's right here now. So it's the easiest message to deliver because it's already been delivered. You're just attempting to uh remember that package? Yeah, yeah. So that's basically it. It's like a mailman with no mail. You just knock on the door. Did you get the mail? Oh, yeah. All right. But easiest, it's the easiest route to have as a mailman. You don't have to carry anything, no 12 or 15 ways or whatever. It's just basically if you are it by seeing what you're not, because this is the dilemma of hearing the message. What you're not claims to be the hearer of the message. You all know that. Yeah. So while we're here hearing the message, the head has already arrived at the idea that it's the hearer of the message. And then it goes off on, I've heard this message before, I like this, whatever, on and on and on and on and on. And that, in a sense, is the missing of the message. Yeah. Is it starts at there's the one who heard the message. So the one who heard the message is the demonstration of missing the message. Yeah. This is why how you get it is you don't get it. So, and then you watch, instead of going along with that little storyline, you watch it. Yeah. And, that guy who's the guy that gets everyone to follow playing the flute or something? When it looks back and there's no one there, it's got to come up with another tune. Yeah. And then you see the emperor with no clothes. You see the nakedness of the activity that was being really disguised by your unwilling or we haven't heard the possibility that we may not be that. Yeah. Most of us are we start at we're that and we don't want to be that, or we want to be a more that, or we want to be a better that, but that's that, so to speak. And in this case, that's what's negating that is not that. That is an activity that can be seen from awareness. Yeah, because everything is seen from awareness. The idea of being this, the seeing is claimed to imply there's a seer, and now the seer has a story that it's aware, but it's not aware. The non-existent thing is not aware. Yeah. The non-existent thing does not have awareness in and of itself as a thing. Something moves through, and there's the awareness. Now, the head takes the awareness and claims it and says, you as a thing are aware, which is a huge blind spot in what we would call awareness. Yeah. There's a huge blind spot because the awareness, the initial recognition of onness going on by onness itself gets claimed, and it's you that's on, you that's aware. And that's the misdirection of a space into a direction called, let's say, self-centeredness. Yeah. So now we're aware, not as awareness, but as this idea of being a thing, and that's making us incredibly unaware that we're awareness. Yeah. To the point it may even lead to you wanting to become aware. Hey, come on in, my friend. Yeah. Hey, how are you? We got a nice table. We have a nice couch for you. We've already started. Do you have any water, anything? Everything's got, everyone's there. All right, come on in. Sit down and the horse is out of the barn already, so just we started it already, but
Yeah, Petaluma, I gave it an hour to get the Petaluma back, but it took
well, come on in
an
and
extra.
sit there if you like, or wherever's comfortable. And hey, Lola, chill. Come here. Yeah, chill out, chill. So yeah, keep her away. Yeah, yeah. All right, well, we just had some more guests come in, so we had to stop. So let's go back to the pointless point. Because you already are what's looking, obviously looking for it would blind us to that fact. Simple, yes? So if what's looking is what we're looking for from the view of non-duality, looking for it would be active being blind to it, yeah? Because you would be using what's looking to look for a conceptual idea of what's looking, yeah? Yeah, you see that, it's very simple. Now that little aberration just repeats over and over and over again, over and over and over again. Yeah, so you hear the message and then there's the hearer of the message. Yeah, so there's a hearing of a message, hopefully right now, and then in time, that hearing of the message is used to reinforce there's a hearer of the message. That's really what the message is about, is that movement from verb to noun. Yeah, because it's not natural. Verb is verb alone. There isn't any noun. Then verb is used to reinforce an idea of being a noun. And then we start at the noun. So it's like a manufactured starting point that has to ignore or make impossible the true starting point, or there would be cognitive dissonance, right? If there was you and then two yous, that would disqualify the idea of being a separate, long-lasting, independent you. If two yous appeared, there would be evidence there's no yous, yeah? You know what I mean? This is what happens when some people come out of a blackout in drinking. They may have just made love with their girlfriend. The girlfriend saw you as you, yeah. Now, but you don't feel you were there because something upset the system, and the familiar idea of self got stopped, and a new self appeared to represent you, so to speak. And in my view, I've had many blackouts, so I've gone through many of them, and the self that was running my life when I was in the blackout worked better than the self that showed back up and said I'd been in a blackout, which is amazing. If I could have switched, it would have been a better deal. But there would be this idea of, I haven't been here, but you have. You bought tickets to fly somewhere. You did this. Everyone.
Drugs in a blackout.
Yes, yeah. Everyone who saw you said Paul, and you responded. You weren't blacked out. You didn't stop like a tree and then suddenly wake up 14 hours later. The manufactured system got overwhelmed, let's say with drinking too much or something like that. It went down, just like when your Wi-Fi goes down. It went down. And then instead of getting the message, it went down, it was replaced by another, like Frontier getting replaced by Comcast, or Comcast. But you see, wait a minute, but you know what I mean? It gets in there so quickly, it seems to be uninterrupted. So the self that shows up in the blackout has no idea there was another self, and the self that shows up after the blackout has no idea there's another self. Because the only idea the manufactured program self is there's only one self, you. Yeah. So the evidence can be strewn all over it. It will not pick up the evidence because the program overrides it seeing anything in a different light. The program is self-centeredness. You're a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. You're not a manufactured row of selves. You're one, yeah? Yeah, this is its whole storyline. This is why when the system collapses and gets replaced for 14 hours, there's gonna be no recognition that it collapsed nor was replaced. You just call it a blackout for 14, 15 hours. Yet you may have gotten married in a blackout. You bought tickets and flew to fucking Des Moines. You did. You signed contracts to work for 20 years. Yes? Yeah. So in the world of self, you gotta fill that contract. Yeah, you bought the house, it's yours, and the fucking Cadillac Seville. Yeah. They're not gonna go, oh, there was no self. It was another self. Well, give me the other self's address. We'll send the bills to them. If not, they're going to your address. Yeah. So this idea,
I remember it well.
yeah, so this idea is manufactured. And because it's manufactured and it takes time and it's supported by time, it can be interrupted when something intervenes on time. So you can get a whack or an epiphany or these things they call it, where that system is not representing you for that hour or 3 hours or whatever. It isn't. And you're here and you're not in a blackout at that point in an epiphany. You're aware of being aware, and you're aware, but you're not aware of anyone being aware. There's no idea of you. That familiar rung in the ladder ain't there. You're just here, until usually the system kicks back in and goes, I'm having an incredible epiphany, and then the epiphany stops. You see, it always does. As soon as you show back up, it ends, like abruptly. That should tell us something. I mean, obviously, this isn't about a mysterious 11th dimensional fucking thriller. It's just we're stepping in it all day. It's just you need an understanding that will, instead of having your eyes being directed by the head, have your eyes being directed by the message, and then you'll see the head instead of looking from it. Yeah. And non-duality has it's the most simplest message of all, because you are already that which you're looking for, with no requirements met for that which you're not to get developed to become what it already is. So it's just really based on a loss of interest in all of this magical thinking. And then the recognition of blue is blue and red is obvious, like they say in Zen. You'll be seeing blue is blue and red is red. You'll see this moment can be filled with ideas of a past or future moment, but this moment doesn't get replaced by the past or future moment. It doesn't. It never can. It can appear in the moment, but past and future does not replace the moment. You're entertaining the past in the moment, or you're entertaining the future in the moment, or you're just entertaining in the moment. But the moment is the base. There's no getting out of it or getting into it. You cannot escape here and now. Yeah, the head likes to believe it can by thinking. So the thoughts seem to jump over the fence, but nothing jumps over the fence into the past. And then a lot of people are being affected by the past and future right now, but by the faith in the thoughts right now. So the thoughts are thinking about you in the past, and that attraction of you, no matter when it's presented, which is always now, but that attraction of you in the past is almost like a drug. And then the head goes there and dwells in it until it needs another shot. And maybe I've gone to the past so much, let's go to the future. Oh, you're going to be fucked. You're going to be destitute. But boom, okay, get that shot. Yes. But it cannot, all of that shenanigans can only appear now. So the past is only in the present, if you want to call it present, and the future is only in the present. Yeah, there's no past or future. It's only in the present. Last Tuesday is not sending you messages about itself. It isn't. You're not getting news broadcasts from, oh, Paul, you forgot something at the fucking Crossroads Trading Company. It's in the bathroom, someone stole it, blah, blah, blah. No, Tuesday is gone, bye-bye. Yes? The only way it can be resuscitated is through me entertaining thoughts about it, yeah? Now, these thoughts aren't mine even to begin with, yes? I am not something that has thoughts. I am nothing that sees thoughts, let's say, yeah? And we've been, actually, it's not even, you see energetic impulse, let's say, and then it breaks into a language, it's an understanding, yeah? And then shit downloads, and then we get affected. And these effects in the Course of Miracles are called causeless effects, yeah? Because just like if you were scared of that tiger in the dream last night, that would have been a causeless effect because there was only the tiger in the dream. There was no real tiger that caused you anxiety or fear, but because you took the dreamt tiger as real, it triggered anxiety and fear. Well, this is what's happening now, yes? Yes. We're taking a lot of stuff, and that stuff is given reality, and then that reality you gave it bites us in our unreal ass. And then we're looking to get some relief, and some of us, the payoff is so essential, we'll deny and try to disavow and just disassociate from the consequences that keep rising. And the payoff keeps getting smaller, and the consequences or the cost keeps getting higher. Yeah, but it's like a deal made with the devil, and it's over. Yes. So basically, I found in that adventure of addiction in this life that I was willing to pay any consequence tomorrow not to feel uncomfortable now. And I felt uncomfortable now because there was great faith in the mental anxiety. Yeah. The thoughts about yesterday and tomorrow and me and you, I had so much faith in, I was constantly living at the effect of causeless effects. Yes. I was constantly reacting to causeless effects. I was in my little old porno theater, and I was getting done to by Dallas and everything else. Yes. So, and I would do anything to get a momentary relief from it, because it seemed like it was going to be long-lasting unrelief, which was all manufactured in the story, in the head. Yeah. Now, as the thinker, I am not going to get much relief from thoughts, but from seeing yourself as not the thinker, you'll get relief from thoughts. Yeah. You're not going to get that much relief from thoughts if you try to line them all up and make them listen to the thinker and all like this. There's so much fear of it not working anyway, and stress. But to see you're not the thinker takes a lot of meaning out of the thoughts. And then maybe you'll see that most people are sharing the same thoughts, and everyone is taking them to be personal thoughts. And if you have gone to such a length in, let's say, active addiction, that you had to join a community of like people who were taken over by the same thing, and you're sitting there listening to people share, and you, even in your cocoon of terminal uniqueness, that no one thinks like you, no one feels like you, no one's done the things that you've done, you're going to hear contrary evidence that all these fuckers that I wouldn't even get high with think like me. They're feeling like me, and they're doing the same crazy shit I did. Now, either how did they get my thoughts, or they're not my thoughts? And this was when I started to have relief.
Oh, yeah.
The first relief was branded by alcoholic thoughts, and I knew alcoholic thoughts were shared. I still hadn't gotten to the point that all the other different thoughts were shared. But at first, the first relief, or it was almost like, the rings of Saturn, you got moved to a farther ring around Saturn. Yeah. So instead of like the 9 rings of Saturn, and you're really right close to Saturn, you were going to other rings that had a lot more space. Yeah. They could even actually be a moon in and of itself, not calling itself to be a moon of Saturn, but a moon itself. Yes. So I saw that, and what happens? Relief is the greatest knowledge, really, literally. Relief is the greatest credit to get at the college of life. Relief. Relief begets more relief. So once you see that, hey, these thoughts aren't mine, it's going to be applied to all thoughts sooner or later. Yes. And the same thing with actions. You've been the doer of all these things all this time, and now you have this huge amount of evidence, yeah, that certain actions you did seem to have been shared by a lot of other addicts and alcoholics, yeah, and you start then the fucking holy grail of the manufactured state, which is personal doership, starts getting questioned. You're going, wait a minute, was I driven by things all along, listening to a story that I'm the driver? I'll see you later, hon. Yeah. So now that crack opens up, and all you have to do is entertain the possibility of the crack. The crack will do the rest. Cracks, and then you're starting to see, hey, wait a minute. You know, when I was out there using, I was apt to do almost anything. All the while, after I wake up from all that fucking catastrophes, there's a story that I'm still stuck with, as I was the doer of it all. I will be convicted behaviors in this world of a justice system. Everyone is going to blame me, but am I the doer? No, I don't see it that way. Yeah, I do not see that I am the doer of these things that are being done through me. Basically, I am driven, and if I'm driven, I am not the driver. Yes? Just like they tried to keep talking about self-driving cars, you got to have a person in there, or you're going to fucking die probably. They're not happening. So in this case, there's a driven and a driver. It's important to know which one is which. If you're living as if you were the driver, and then so all the shit that happens that you were driven to, you're taking the fucking blame. Yeah? Now, if you didn't do something 40 years ago, it would be hard to maintain a memory of that action for 40 years. But quite easier is it if you are seen as the doer of that shit 40 years ago. You can go back to that well and dwell on it, and all you need to see the water is to look in the well. Then the water will appear, and you'll get a reflection of you as a doer. Yeah, and you may stay there for 50 years. Not because of the action, pretty much, but because it was you that did the action. So the relief from the action isn't you getting relief from the action. It's seeing the action had no you. Yeah, that's the relief. The action has no you. This is a different relief. Relief for the actor to get over those actions is different than relief from the actor. Relief from the actor isn't coerced. It isn't made. It isn't maintained. You don't work it out. Yeah. There's relief that doesn't demonstrate any thought or effort. This is the relief of this message. The relief of this message is you already are what you're looking for. Yeah. Being ourselves reality. Now that you would say is an insane statement, but the godfather of non-duality, Ramana Maharshi, says it very emphatically. The greatest mystery here, being ourselves reality, aka Paul, wanting to attain reality. That's the explanation of the whole message of non-duality. Yeah, it has nothing to do about finding reality. It's about seeing what you're not. Because that which you're not is taking itself to be the source of reality. I am real, and it's not. Yeah. And for it to be real, what real has to appear as not to be real. Yeah. Just like the one self, you can't have a blackout and have two selves at once. It wouldn't work. It would blow the whole storyline of a self, which is an independent, separate thing. If two show up, they just blew both their stories. Yes. So this is the point with this message. Reality, wanting to obtain reality, makes fucking no sense. When it's Paul wanting to attain reality, it can be seemingly seen as a noble endeavor here. But in fact, if you strip the idea of Paul away, if you see reality wanting to attain reality, it's fucking hilarious. Truly. I mean, Jesus, this is the ultimate cosmic joke, is we are what we're looking for, using that to look for shit. And some of the shit we call, that's what we truly are. No, you are that which is looking. You're not which is going to be found. Yeah. You are that which is looking. And this whole point of the message is just to keep bringing you back to where you never left. It's not difficult. You don't even have to call an Uber. You think you're somewhere, but if you call us up, you don't need a car. Why? Upon having never left, you don't need an Uber. What? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm at the retreat. No, you're not. Upon having never left, there's no need to drive that retreat. It's not taking you fucking anywhere. You may get better food and feel better physically, and blood pressure will be helped. Yes, it can very much help the action figure, which I have a lot of value in. But I do not believe you're going to become more of what you already are. I just don't. I don't. I don't think you can make more. Doesn't work in everything. If what we're looking for is everything, there's no more that can be found. Yeah, more would be a denial of the everywhere and everythingness of it, wouldn't it? Yeah, and then that craving idea that this isn't enough would be disputed completely. Yes. And then maybe you'll find that you can accept shit that you could not accept before when you were taking it personally. You may be able to travel lighter in spite of you, instead of waiting for it to get to be able to travel lighter. Come on in, bro. You have trouble finding it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Come on in. There's chairs and stuff. Hey, it's nice to see you. Yes. So we're on wherever we are. We're always coming back to the same point. Yeah. So this is how it made sense to me. After I listened to non-duality and I was getting slapped around, just push her off if she gets too much. Yeah. I was getting whacked and whacked and whacked. And then I started to realize what I'm actually getting is the fruits of nothing, so to speak. Yeah. And the fruits of nothing to a big fruit picker is fucking frustrating because it wants to get something. And then I started to see the emperor with no clothes and with the eyes that I am not that emperor. Yeah. To the point where I don't need to see the emperor with no clothes. It can wear tons of clothes and I still see the emperor with no clothes. There's going to be a point where there's going to be you're going to be convinced of something that you already are convinced of. Yeah. And it's just going to make it easier. The head will just give up the ghost, truly. It doesn't understand, but it just fucking goes mute. Yeah, so it's been, it's not gotten anything from coming to these talks for years. That's not like it. It was always thinking it was going to get something. Years ago, it got the message, now you're getting shit. And yet here it is. So it's a pretty good, animal. It can't be the lead of the pack, yes? So it comes to some conclusions, not through its own effort, but from the recognition of what's actually providing all the light, which is what we are. So the Buddha is what gets the message that you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Paul, aka Buddha, does not get that message. Paul, aka Buddha, becomes an effect of that message. And it looks like it gets it, but it's indifferent than it getting it, yeah? It comes through, it's transmitted, but it doesn't get it. It just gets neutered, so to speak. It gets chilled out, yeah, from this recognition, but it's not its recognition. So now it sees, there's a seeing of something, and this is like a true trickle-down economy. It trickles down to the action figure, and the action figure finds some peace in all of its chaotic, agitated states, yeah? Not by its own devices, but by something recognizing it's not it, yeah? So the Buddha is that what? Here's the message that you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Yeah. Paul does not hear that message. It doesn't. Paul believes it's really important to use Buddhism to try to acquire a trait that it says the Buddha has. And it makes a lot of sense to the mental logic, but the mental logic doesn't really even make sense when you are what you're looking for. Yeah? Because it doesn't see it that way. The mental logic believes you're something. It's programmed, it's not AI. It believes you're a thing. It sees things as things. It gives meaning to things. It holds value in things. And as Ramana said so beautifully, there's a presupposing of this non-existent thing, which is a body. Yeah. The body is non-existent thing. The body, even when moving, is a non-existent thing, because what's moving the body ain't the body, it's existence. Yes. So if you've seen a person's body that you used to know dead, you may get a hit that wasn't Uncle Fred. Yeah. Now, all the while you were seeing Uncle Fred moving around and vertical, you were taking him to be Uncle Fred, the body. You see the body inert with no existence being displayed. It was obvious that wasn't Uncle Fred. Now, why was I seeing Uncle Fred that way? Because I was seeing this that way. I was seeing the awareness that was expressing here as the body. And that body was called Paul, who was the one who was aware. This is the erroneous misunderstanding, which is the bedrock of everything else that takes off. And non-duality questions that. That's all it does. The understanding of non-duality will bring the bedrock of misunderstanding into the light. And you're going to be either brought to submission or you're going to lose interest and go do some exciting shit. You know, peak experiences, fucking synthesizing different, Buddhism with Kabbalah, with some tantric and shit like that, and just play around with like what's that Rubik cube of spiritual practices. Yes. But you get a point that's going to fail you, and the failure is the greatest success. You realize why you can't arrive, because you never left. You never left. Nothing has happened to the basic condition of all the conditions, which is an unconditional one. Nothing's happened. Really, nothing. Yeah. Do you have to do any atonement before you go to sleep at night? Not really. Do you? Do you go over all your prison sentences and shit like that? I don't deserve it. You just fall asleep usually. Fall asleep. You may have been thinking of killing someone an hour before. It doesn't fucking matter. There's no giant iron door that's shut into deep sleep. No, you just go and you enjoy the absence of all the shenanigans that you seem to be engaged with in the awake dream. Yeah. But see, the night dream is great because there's a morning to it. Yeah. People wake up in the morning from the dream. We don't have a morning in the awake dream. We don't. So we have to have satsang. We have to have other ways that can play the role of a morning, so that you'll wake up from the awake dream like you wake up from the night dream. Yeah. You're going to tell me, unless you're going into like, what is that? Lucid dreaming and shit, which you can do. Most of the times, while in the dreaming, you're taking it to be so. Yeah. And the only thing that disputes that is you wake up. Here, we don't have a built-in waking up. We don't. You just don't go to like, oh, there's the wake up building and we go there and then you're awake to being awake and the day goes however it goes. No, we seem to believe the awake dream is not like the dream at night, when it's exactly like the dream at night. It just doesn't have a morning for it. Yeah. So what's going to disrupt that seeming continuum that we give to this is hopefully satsang. Hopefully you've had enough shake up. Satsang can support that. It's better than a fucking sleeping pill or anything else. Yeah. Satsang will change a lot, and you don't do anything. You're just sitting here. Yeah, you're hearing something, but see, what you're hoping to know by hearing it, you already know it. It's already knowledge. This is not shooting yourself up with new knowledge. It isn't. It's just, you hear a bell that you knew that sound before. Yeah, you do. And then something rings so true, it can become like the last answer here. You just realize, So I remember the day I was never going to ask another question, satsang. That went, and that stayed true. I knew that I came to the conclusion I'm never going to get it, and it was a hallelujah as a response, not a frustration. I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get it. Hallelujah. It's great. I'm never going to get it. Nothing, I can't blow it, which is also good. Yeah. I can't attain it, great. And that means I can't find it, great, because that means if I could find it, I could probably lose it. And I'd be more obsessed with the losing than any of enjoying the finding. But that's out the window, so it just is. And then you just, I don't know, things happen and the partitions blend more. So you don't see this as like single shots with framed. Yeah. You see it more like a living mural. Yeah. And you and the distribution of the paint are the same. Yeah. You're seeing it as the painting of it. And the painting of it is you're seeing it. Yeah. You're dreaming. Yeah. And hopefully you'll travel lighter. And even if you don't travel lighter, you can travel lighter from that. See, when this cannot travel lighter, there's still a quality of traveling lighter. Because this gets overwhelmed quite easily. It does. Look at what happens. You have a bummer. We saw it once at satsang. It was great. A friend of ours had an old truck that no one fucking would want. And then he forgot where he parked it. And then he immediately he couldn't see it, so he thought someone stole it. Immediately. I mean, all the mindfulness in the world practice would not get before that. And then he's calling us up. We're going, who the fuck would want that truck? But okay, and he's enlisting us. Can you help me find the truck? And we're like, what the hell? And then finally, all he needed to meet is a person who had been with them after they left, because they had dropped them off and he had parked the truck somewhere else. It was and then the whole, just all the air deflated, and there was the truck. Yeah. But the misseeing of it, the truck wasn't missing. He just thought he had put it somewhere else. So him not knowing where he put it turned into missing, and that turned into someone stole it, and that turned into this whole fucking conniption. And you could watch, it was like the birth of a whole life. It was great to watch. A misunderstanding turned into this whole fucking thing, enlisting people into the whole thing. And then the humbleness of, oh, I forgot I parked it here. This is the point. We're bringing you and I, not to the thing of that which forgets, remember, but remember you're not that which forgets. To remember you're not that which forgets. Yeah. If you try to keep that thing, remember it, it's more fucking work and effort. But you remember you're not that which forgets. So it's sort of like if you have a place to live and you're aware of that and you go to work, being at work does not convince you don't have a place to live. You're not chanting, I have a place to live, I have the place to live. And if you have to stay overtime, more time at work is not going to convince you don't have a place to live. And if you work in Europe, more space is not going to convince you, because it's a knowledge you have, yeah, that's different than other knowledges. You know you left the house with a bed, and all the being somewhere else doesn't convince you otherwise, yeah? This is like this knowledge of I am. It's so overwhelmingly true, it makes this other shit ludicrous, literally. Yeah. So when I remember I was in this thing called the Course of Miracles, and I figured out that the body identification was the obstacle or the obscuring thing. And there was a lesson in there called I am not a body, I am free. I am just as God created me or something. So I would say that quite a lot when I'd wake up in the morning. And then after a week or two, I realized, well, who the hell would chant it's not a body other than a body identification? That's what is not a body, doesn't chant it's not a body. It's very clear it's not a body. What was chanting it's not a body was the reinforcement of the body identification, because it was very unclear to it. It's not a body. Yeah. This is the beauty of it. The beauty of it is, how are you going to know this shit unless something entices it to come out? When you see it show its ignorance, it's not choice ignorance. It's not evil ignorance. It's programmed ignorance. It can't see this. It can't get it. Yeah. Just like when you talk and people you bring about the personal doership, they immediately rush in. Well, if I'm not the doer, I'm going to lay on my couch all day. They have never been the doer. Yeah. And they weren't laying on their couch all day. It's not like, oh, you heard the message and now you're not the doer, though you had a history of being the, no, you've never been the doer. So did you run out and do 5 tabs of acid? No, you've never been the doer. So, but they will still believe they hear it as a doer. And the reaction as a doer is, I'll fucking just lay on the couch all day. I'll just die there. I'll have no worth. Yes. This is the fear the system uses to keep you somewhat in the fucking system. It says, no, no, no. It has a lot of forbidden zones, which are giant vistas. Yeah. It has you driving and you're missing all the beautiful vistas. Yeah. So, oh, rock slide or something. No parking. No, and there's no one there. It's just, yeah, it's just, so I saw it when I was young with this idea of self-preservation, supposedly is a very big instinct. Yeah. So you have instinct to have like love and all this stuff and houses and food and everything. Those instincts are there. But the strongest instinct is self-preservation. And then one day, just look at what happens if someone's riding near a cliff with a bike and they start losing control and they start falling. What do they try to save? The bike. They try to save the bike. They're not preserving them. They're trying to save the bike. What more do you need to know? Something in you has an idea of self-preservation and you're not worthy of being preserved. You watch someone, I saw it at the Starbucks, someone trips, the last thing they want to spill is the fucking coffee. They'll get hit by a car like this. How much do you have to go to like a 48-hour seminar? Just see it in your life. I used to see it all the time surfing. Yeah, that's right. I'm surfing. I'd be, you go into the rocks, you try to save the board. You're getting hit. You fuck it. I paid $200 like this. And then last month or so, longer than that, there was a video of a bus, and they had like a GoPro sort of above the drivers. And there was a young girl, like 15, 16, maybe a little older, sitting in the first row. And then the bus went into an accident, went into a roll. And all you could see is her holding the iPhone, doing a 360. It was like the claw of death. It was like she was not letting go of that fucking phone. You don't need to live in a seminary 4 years. Just check it out. Your head it always overplays its hand, and then it has you forget what you saw and gets you, oh, but look at that, look at them, blame them. But man, I had it. I was going to Rod Stewart concert. We all got loaded at my place, my little opium den underneath my mother's bedroom in the cellar, dropped some acid. I did 2 hits of acid. And then I was there getting ready to go. And my head said, why don't you drop about 8 secanols? Because I had a lot of downs. And I'm going, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like it's preserving my life. I'm going to take the Long Island Railroad on 2 hits of acid, 8 secanols. Like, fuck. And it was talking just like that. I was like, what? Who's this? It's like, and then it hung up. You know, who's this? Who am I speaking to? It wasn't me. That's fucking for sure. Oh yeah, take 8 Seconal. I swear to God, I heard it like clear as day. It was the clearest fucking phone call I ever heard. It was like, oh yeah, take some Seconal. And then I had to wait a minute, that doesn't make any fucking sense, but now it does. That which is talking to me ain't me. Yeah, so it was man, it wasn't helpful back then, and I got super suspicious. Yeah, but I never forgot that, because it was like self-preservation. It doesn't seem like it gives a shit about my life, but it must be preserving its life.
Yeah.
So the parasite hiding amongst the host will always overplay its hand, because it's a parasite. So it's going to show itself, its hate for you sooner or later. And now I know I'll meet a lot of people that they're in a belief that they hate themselves. They do not hate themselves. Something may hate them. Some fucking streak of fucking algorithm or something like that, but they do not hate themselves, and they are not their own worst enemies. Yeah. You're just listening to something that could be. And I'm not saying enemy as a thing that you have to vanquish or thing. I say it's an activity, and has a parasitical nature. And just like the story with the lady who saves that snake and is very nice to it for a few days, and then's walking around, and then the snake bites her, and she's like, really, why? Why did you bite me? I got you the little down comforter and the little eyedropper. I'm a snake. That's what it wasn't a huge story. I'm a snake. That's what snakes do. Yeah. So something, all the while we're seemingly living, is preserving its life. And it wants its life to be seen as our life. And it likes to tell its way of seeing things and have it appear as our way of seeing things. And as a self, I don't think there's going to be much help. But if you're not, yeah, there's a lot of relief available, because I don't believe self can get out of self, as we find in recovery. This idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity, because it's birthed by the idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity, is not going to transcend the idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah, as Einstein said, you can't look to the system that produced the problem for the solution. Yeah. Yeah. So this is just, to me, it's seeing what you're not. And that's that. And maybe you're moved to do something, maybe you won't be moved. There's no rote path. You just see what you're not. And hopefully there's enough loss of interest that some condition gets established, which I call traveling lighter. And that's basically the end of the endeavor. That's it. Now there's the living aspect of it. Yeah. Whatever you could have done has been done. However it is, that's how it is. And now that whole endeavor of upgrading or whatever has been muted. The urban renewal project has been canceled. And now the interest and attention is being spent on other things, and probably is enriching your day instead of enslaving your day. Yeah, enriching it, like fucking being open to here right now. Not with any effort, like being open. You're recognizing you are open. This isn't this whole idea, we're not on a planet called duality. It's a way of seeing, yeah? And we're looking from a dualism of subject object, so we see dualism. Yeah. If we were in a world, if we were in unity, we would see unity. Everything would be seeing, oh, but we're not. The manufactured program is subject object. And from that dualism is projected duality. So now we see everything that can be given meaning. We see the meaning that we see, the underlying meaning is a duality, because it's coming from us. This is the projector, which is dualism, and therefore what it projects is patterned through duality. And this is how you get to recognize the dualism in you is seeing the duality that's being projected. So just look at what happens with unintended consequences. You are very, very wanting you to be healthy, and your obsession about being healthy is causing you a lot of illness. Yeah. So you start seeing like my intention to go somewhere is also a denial that I'm not somewhere else. Yes. So you have to see most movement towards something is a movement away from something. This is duality. And because of the dualism, the singularity is seen as subject object, and it's misunderstood, and it's making a lot of fucking mistakes. Therefore, those are presented. And then when we see something that works, we call it paradoxical, because our little mental logic can't understand fucking things. They can't. So there's a lot of synchronicity or this. No, it's just a reaction from a faulty system recognizing something working, really. It recognizes something working, can't understand it at all. So it says, oh, this is very paradoxical. No, it isn't. Yeah. By losing interest in something, there can be a great, great amount of interest. Yeah. Yeah. Watch. Like I was a kid, I used to like insects. I still do, but I liked insects then. And some of them had some interesting covers, the shells, they're not shells really. So I would want to look at them, and I'd go in my mother's in the kitchen. We had a magnifying glass. I'd go out and I'd take the magnifying glass, and I could see the shell colors better because it got amplified. But the light was amplified from the sun, and I was burning the fucking insect to death while I was observing it. Well, this is us. Our head is like a magnifying glass. There's lots of light, and that light is being focused and directed by an amplification called self-centeredness, and it has the power to fucking incinerate shit. So while you're putting a lot of tension on something with the hopes it's going to like produce, let's say, a desired effect, it mutates. Yeah. Because you don't know what light through 5 amp is going to look like when it's through 30 amp. It may not look like the same thing. So I noticed that when I was young, had trouble with my stomach, wanted relief, tried a lot of things. One of them was macrobiotics. Very interesting way of eating indigenous shit, not drinking any water or anything, bancha tea. You got introduced intimately to miso and tons of shit like that. And rice, lots of rice. And I'd go in a sauna, I wouldn't sweat. I had no fucking water content. Yeah. And now all my interest attention was trying to feel how it felt in my small intestine all fucking day. Really. I mean, that wasn't being helpful. But if you ask me, I was trying to be the most helpful I could to get well, but it was the least helpful to get well. Yeah. Now I had a number of these things smash me in the face, and then I sort of got it. Yeah. And so now when I work with some people in recovery, they just do too much work. They're looking at every little thing. I said, man, this is obsession with self, basically. Just fucking enjoy the recovery that you've been given. You don't have to worry about what your intention is going left or right on Hate Street. Just fucking go one way or the other. They're the same both ways, basically. It's not so fucking profound. Yeah. And so the same thing with the getting healed. It hit a point where I found this stuff they just brought from Canada, and it had made the first big leap of beneficial flora from billions to trillion. And you'd buy them in these little milk bottles, and there was 6 or 8 of them, and it was 40-something bucks for the week. Yeah. And at that time, that was expensive. So I was drinking it religiously for like almost a year. Drinking religiously and trying to coax. I'm thinking I'm feeling better, whatever. You know what I mean? How you go. You don't want to look like a complete asshole spending $3,000. I think I'm getting better. And then I decided And I knew there was this very famous lab in Smoky Mountain Lab in Tennessee or something, and used to send your specimens. So they sent me a little box, and 3 days of shit. You send it to them, and they give you a thing, what you want them to look for. Everyone was always parasites, even though we're in a completely a parasitic condition. But you can see the weird misunderstanding of reacting to that. We're super afraid of parasites here. So parasites. And then I asked a couple other things. I send it in week or so, 2 weeks, they send back. I'm quite excited about, and I've been still taking this shit religiously. Look at it, no parasites. And then I said, look at signs of beneficial flora, 0.0000. Now I have fucking was a forced migration of trillions of beneficial flora to this unforgiving place of the intestines. I had packed, there was trillions I gave him in there. No sign of any existence of beneficial flora. And now my head, of course, could not explain it, but the next paragraph did. It was beautiful. Mr. Hedderman, you're inhabited by two bacteria that love beneficial flora. So basically, you've been catering gourmet fucking flora, and these two bacteria have gotten very fucking big because all your thousands of dollars, you've been buying them fucking dinner every night. So a great thing out of that was the principle I was just been sharing. Yeah. Now I believed I was out to do my best, but it turned out to be the exact opposite. So now a lot of shit, I don't do anything. And it seems to work itself out. I do. Yeah. I'm not saying that's a religion. I'm just saying that's what's worked for me for the last years. Yeah. So you can see that the idea that our interest is going to promote our best interest is a bullshit, truly, because something else is directing the show. Yeah. And it's also, it's accounting the results and a lot of stories. Yeah. It's not reliable. And who wants to be directed by thought where it directs you don't want to end up being? Yeah. So how can you jump out of this contract? You got to see you're not the one who signed it. Yeah. You're not. And therefore, there's a valid loss of interest in it, and this contract can be broken. And now you'll feel like you're being moved or directed by something other than the head. And you seemed like a much happier camper, and there you go. And then you can share about it, because by reverse engineering, you can see what happened. Yeah. And to me, the greatest sign of relief is loss of interest, literally. You lose interest. So the liberation of this is being freed from the need to be liberated. Yeah, because that which you're not is constantly looking to liberate itself. You become freed from that need to be liberated. Yeah, that wanting to escape to the 11th dimensional sphere or anything, you've seen the wisdom of no escape. You can't get out of what you're not in. This is a dream. This is dreaming. Yeah, your intense desire to get out of the dreaming is part of the dreaming. No escape is going to work. Yeah, because there's only in the dreaming is the dreaming seem real. And that part of the dreaming that wants to seem real outside the dreaming, it doesn't. Yeah. So that which wants to get out of the dreaming is of the dreaming. You're not of the dreaming. Yeah. You do not chant, I'm not a body. You're not a body. You don't need to chant, I'm not the doer. You're not the doer. Yeah. And then see how it goes. Hopefully you'll travel lighter today. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyone, you have any questions here? No? Yes? We'll see what happened. I hope I haven't been on mute the whole time. Because why? I thought they were giving me that thing at the concerts. No, they could hear me. Everyone, who's there? Who's running it today?
I have no hands up so far.
Oh, Martin.
Yes, sir.
Anyone? Any question? You don't have to. It's not necessary.
Well, it seems like what you're saying is the kind of antidote to the dream is just coming into satsang.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. okay.
Yes. It will get to that point, or it's already at that point. Yeah. In other words, either you can arrive somewhere through satsang, or you can just remember you've never leave through satsang. Yeah. But I believe satsang is sufficient enough, yes, as a vehicle. I mean, I haven't done anything since that other than this for a long, long time. Yeah. It's sort of like, if you were thinking I have to do 10 deep breaths, and after the first breath, you realize you don't have to do 10 deep breaths. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So now people learn, some people it goes a little later. They finally realize they don't have to be at a retreat when they're at the retreat, but they get it anyways. They get the message. It cost them 2,000 or something, but they get the message. Taking the first breath of having to take 10 breaths may say, you don't need to take the other 9. Like, so enough in the first breath. Yeah. So, yeah. This is self does not maintain itself well, nor us actually, but this is a maintaining of its own. It's a living event, therefore it does it. It's not like it's something that doesn't breathe, and then by breathing it's always breathing. The I am is a verb. It's not a fact. It's a verb. I am. What did they describe it as? I am that I am in the Bible. So I am that I am is verbing. Yeah. So you may come up with idea you got to do something, then you start, and then you realize I don't have to do anything. Yeah, it goes faster and faster. Yeah, and then sometimes you need to do something. Yeah, sometimes let's say blood pressure goes too high. You should chill out, lay down, breathe, and now let the body get into a different rhythm. Yeah, but the beautiful news is you don't have to be burdened by the idea of being the one who has blood pressure and the one who had to do the breathing to get out of the blood pressure. There was just blood pressure. Yeah, and then there's boom, like this idea. My girlfriend Amelia, she hurt herself on the bike the other day. We didn't see what happened, but this part of the bike hit her in the ribs. Now, she's witnessed me fall many times, and I'm like Barishnikov when I fall, because it happens before thought. I just do some incredible moves, and I roll over, and I've done it in New Jersey. It's not just in the right setting. New Jersey, pothole. And people are amazed what the hell, how did he do that? Because I didn't do it. I didn't. Something responds before I was there to respond. Yes. So something's quicker than my head, obviously. And it's great. So I, roll over and I feel, oh, that's good. Shake up and everything. So when that starts to occur, then you see that there is like a gun goes off and the race of time starts. Yeah. But you were there before the race that says this is the beginning of you. You were there before. So you see the beginning of you is of time and you're not of time. And then it just keeps more and more stuff gets revealed. Like it's not the awareness, but there's specks on the glass. So after sometimes it's not blocking you anymore, but there's a speck there and something gets revealed and a little speck there. And the lenses clean themselves, so to speak. Yeah. But the essential obscuring is over, which is cool. So blue is blue and red is red. Things are somewhat clear. And then maybe if you have a seat assignment like this, where you're sharing it, some specks may get taken off that aren't essential to be taken off. You've realized, yeah, the clarity of the lens isn't, it's that there's no seer. The clarity of the lens is that there's no seer. That's the clarity to me. Yeah. If not, if you think it's the lens, then you're going to try to get Nikon lenses or whatever, try to upgrade lens, but it isn't. The lens is how the light gets transmitted through something. But the absence of a doer is the real clarity. Yeah, yeah, I feel today. Yeah. And then when something you do, the action figure is going to have a trauma effect. So then this is what happens with a lot of people I meet. They disqualify themselves from being what they are already because they still have this belief that some of what they're not are them. And so when they have a big awakening and it hasn't seemed to have induced a change in their mental activity, they think, oh, it wasn't a big enough awakening. That doesn't wake up. The action figure is mechanical. It just does its thing. Yeah, you're not, if you're looking to see that change, verify where you're at, it's not going to probably. It doesn't get the memo, so to speak. It's just an action figure. Yeah. It does things, has blind sides, has deep imprints that have to express. Yeah. And so this is not about what you think is all of you waking up. You're waking up from a lot of what is not all of you. Yeah. Yeah. So that which was, I remember I used to have it, examples of it traveling. So I started hearing this message and then I'd go to Australia a lot. Long flight, fried out body. So the body was very anxious. And I really believed at the beginning that they had a picture of me in Interpol and they were waiting for me to fucking pounce on me. And the action figure was nervous going through the line. It was. Now, I used to think that meant, oh, I'm nervous. I should be over all this shit. And I realized, no, that's never going to be over this shit. This is it. It had an impression that it's expressing. And I have nothing fucking to do with it, which was great news because I believed a lot of its qualities were my qualities. And if I'm going to get completely washed, it would wash it through all of that. But that's not the case. We're not dirty. Yeah, we're not dirty. We're aligned to something that gets dirty. Yeah. And this idea of having volition about something mechanical is to me insane at this point. But I went through all that. All of that stuff. There was, let's say things happened, and then that clarity of blue is blue and red gets reestablished. But there were lots of specks. There were old beliefs that I thought, and they needed to go sooner or later. Not like there was any effort. It wasn't like pulling teeth. It would just sort of that was being given, blood was being sent to it, taking it to be skin, the blood was removed, and then it flaked off. Yeah, that's what it was like. So things were flaking off, and I was realizing, geez, you got to put the emphasis of this mechanicalness, because when people hear the idea of selfing, they're thinking they're doing it. And now there's another order that they have to do, which they're going to fail at, which is stop selfing. Yeah. So by sharing the message, you would see the typical misunderstandings that would trigger, and then they come to light. You recognize it. Wow. All right. And more of that skin that was being fed started drying off and dropping. And then you can pass that on, because there's the first video we ever did. Hey, do you mind? I'm just going to go off for a little while. Yeah. So the first video we ever did was video of the sheep and the lion. So it's a simple story from India about this young lion and the mother. I'm going to try to make it quick. And the mother dies, and the young lion's now orphaned. And it's roaming around the savannah and doesn't really know what's going on. And then it sees a herd of sheep and it starts moving towards them. Now the sheep knows it's a lion, but it doesn't seem to know it's a lion. and it gets adopted into the herd, and now it's living like a sheep, and it's not, it's a little unsatisfied, doesn't understand, but it looks like at the sheep for food, it wants to eat it, and they're saying, "Oh, you must love her, like maybe you should marry." It's like, I want a fucking casserole or something, really. I want to eat her. And then they're seeing everyone taking it so serious. Who's going to be the next sweater? Next, and like, fuck, I'll rip the fucking person apart, whatever. So it gets, but it doesn't know any better. Possibility is shut down. It's a sheep. That's it, basis. Okay. One day, an old lion shows up in the savannah, sees it, and it's looking very clearly as sheep as a meal, and it's running after the sheep. Notices this other lion's running, and it's thinking it's joining the hunt, but it realizes it's running with the sheep. So it veers off, tackles that lion. The lion knows this is a lion. He rolls over on its back. He says, "Oh, Mr. Lion, please don't eat me. I'm just a humble sheep." Now, the older lion is a little perplexed, just grabs it by its mane. It's been curled, but it's still the mane of the thing, drags it over to the water hole, puts both of their heads out, and the young lion sees the lion, gets it. Bammo. Doesn't get, "I have become a lion." It gets, it's a lion. It didn't matter how many years, how much it believed was a sheep. All of that was completely, instantly washable. All it needed was to meet water. Let's say meet the message. The old lion was the messenger, bammo, okay? That's the end of the parable. But here in the West, that's not the end of the parable. Because when the old lion splits and the young lion starts moving away from the pool, that sheep programming kicks in. Now the sheep program says, you as a sheep has just had a incredible experience of being a lion as a sheep. And therefore the program goes on. The whole event, the whole invitation was neutered. It's now everything is understood from and as a sheep. Yeah. So this to me was more important than you are a lion. Much more important that you're not a sheep. And this is how this whole satsang, this seed assignment got tailored. Is I'm not a believer in chanting I'm a lion. I'm a believer in seeing, are you a sheep? Yeah. And if you're not a sheep, the lion nature is right there, readily available at all times. You don't have to acquire it. You are it already. And you've always been it. Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of people are trying to have lion experiences, but their belief of they're still a sheep is sort of negating the awakeness, because they believe every light should go on across the board. A lot of the board's mechanical. It's never been you. It never will be you. And it doesn't have to be undone as you. It's just see it, not you. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bammo. Anyone have anything here? Any question? No?
Still
No?
no hands.
All right. Well, we're Chris?
Yeah, I just want
All
to
right.
make a comment.
Yeah.
This time is the most important time for bodies. The Olympics,
The Olympics.
the competition between bodies.
Yes. Every 4 years.
Yeah.
Hmm.
A lot
I
of
don't watch
tension
them.
yeah. But yeah.
You know what they do, the Olympics? They destroy a lot of other people.
Hmm.
They create a lot of shit. You know how many people died when they had the Olympics in, where was that, Dubai? All these foreign workers died in the heat and shit to get the Olympics done. This is the duality of everything. Yeah. Bodies are going to be oculated by their feats, and other bodies died for that to occur. This is duality. This is, how are you going to see one through a lens of duality? How are you going to see it? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm going to say goodbye. Rico, nice to see you as always. John K. Matt J. Hey, Matt, nice to see you there. Jamie, Rick Rowe, Teresa, not Mother Teresa, just Teresa. J.A., Kim. Oh, there's Teresa. She's moving. Lisa, Teresa, Lisa. Ilian, Holly, Mucci, Andre, Joy, yeah, Jules on vocals. I can't get to the other page, so I'm gonna say goodbye. Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for all the support. We're gonna be here for a while, and then in September we'll be away. And I need to talk to Tomas. If he's here, Tomas, try to get in touch with me with WhatsApp. The Polish Tomas. All right? Yeah. All right, thanks everyone. See you.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Yes. Bye-bye.